The purple clouds of the dark nebula had protected Earth for thousands of years. Like a cosmic curtain, it hid humanity from the horrors that lurked in the deeper parts of space. But that was about to change. Captain Tom Walker stood at the bridge of the Earth explorer ship Liberty, his eyes fixed on the massive viewscreen. After 3 years of testing their new faster-than-light drive, they were finally ready to push beyond the nebula's edge. His ship would be the first human vessel to venture into the unknown regions of space. "Engine room reports all systems ready, Captain," said First Officer Mike Harris, his voice steady despite the tension in the air. The bridge crew worked quietly at their stations, each person aware of the historical importance of this moment. "Take us out, slow and steady," Walker ordered. The Liberty's engines hummed to life, pushing the massive ship forward through the last wisps of the purple clouds that had kept humanity safe for so long. As they cleared the nebula, their sensors suddenly came alive with data. Walker's eyes widened as he saw the readings. "Multiple ships detected," he announced. "And they're running from something." Through the viewscreen, they watched as 3 small vessels flew past them at high speed. Behind them, 2 larger ships followed in pursuit, firing weapons that lit up the darkness of space with angry red beams. "Those small ships are badly damaged," Harris reported, checking his readings. "Life signs are weak but present." Walker didn't hesitate. "Move to intercept those attack ships. Weapons online, but hold fire unless I give the order." The Liberty was much larger than any of the vessels they could see, its hull gleaming with the advanced technology Earth had developed during its isolation. The pursuing ships suddenly stopped when they detected the Liberty. Walker could almost feel their surprise at encountering an unknown vessel of this size. His communications officer reported an incoming transmission. "Unknown vessel. This is Enforcer Squad 5 of the Dominion. These criminals are escaped property. Do not interfere with their recapture." Walker felt his blood run cold at the word property. He looked at his crew, seeing the same disgust on their faces that he felt. "Open a channel," he ordered. "Enforcer Squad 5, this is Captain Tom Walker of the Earth Explorer ship Liberty. We don't recognize your authority, and we don't acknowledge any sentient beings as property. These vessels are under our protection. Leave the area immediately." The response came quickly, filled with arrogance. "You dare defy the Dominion. All species serve. All species submit. You will learn your place." The Enforcer ships turned their weapons toward the Liberty. Walker smiled grimly. "Shields up. Let's show them what humanity can do." The battle was brief but intense. The Liberty's advanced shields easily absorbed the Enforcer's attacks, while their own weapons cut through the enemy's defenses with surprising ease. Within minutes, both Enforcer ships retreated, their hulls scared and smoking. Walker ordered his crew to rescue the survivors from the damaged ships. As they brought the refugees aboard, the humans learned the terrible truth about the galaxy they had just entered. For 500,000 years, the Dominion had ruled through fear and mental control, enslaving thousands of species across countless star systems. But the refugees noticed something strange about their human rescuers. The mental chains that the Dominion used to control all other species had no effect on them. Somehow, human minds were naturally resistant to their power. In the ship's medical bay, Walker listened as the survivors told their stories. One of them, a being with silver skin who called himself the first speaker, looked at him with hope in his glowing eyes. "In all our recorded history," the first speaker said, "no species has ever fully resisted the Dominion's control. Until now. Perhaps you humans are the key to our freedom." Walker looked around at his crew, then back at the grateful refugees. In trying to explore the galaxy, they had discovered a terrible truth, but also an opportunity. Earth would no longer hide behind its protective nebula. They had found their purpose among the stars. "We'll help you," Walker promised. "And together, we'll free every enslaved being in this galaxy." The first speaker bowed his head in gratitude, while Walker's mind was already racing with plans. Humanity's age of isolation was over. The Age of Liberation had begun. 1 week after their first encounter with the Dominion, the Liberty's science labs were buzzing with activity. Dr. James Reed, the ship's lead scientist, studied brain scans of both humans and their alien refugees. The differences were clear and fascinating. "Look at this, Captain," Reed said, pointing to the glowing displays. Walker leaned in, though the complex brain images meant little to him. Every alien species has these unusual patterns in their neural structure. But human brains, they're completely different. The first speaker stood nearby, his silver skin reflecting the lab's bright lights. "The Dominion's control is like a radio signal that all our brains are forced to receive. But your human minds, they don't even have the receiver." Walker watched as more test results came in. Earth's scientists had already started working with the strange artifact the refugees had brought, a small pyramid-shaped device that seemed to block the Dominion's mental control. It glowed with a soft blue light and hummed quietly on the lab bench. "We can learn from this," Reed said, holding up the artifact. "If we understand how it works, we might be able to make more of them. We could protect others from the Dominion's control." Just then, Officer Harris rushed into the lab. "Captain, we're picking up a distress signal. Another refugee ship, but this one's different. It's carrying scientists, researchers who studied the Dominion's technology in secret." Walker's eyes lit up. This was exactly what they needed. Plot an intercept course. But be careful, it could be a trap. The Liberty moved quietly through space, its sensors scanning for any sign of Dominion ships. They found the refugee vessel hiding in an asteroid field, its power systems almost dead. "Their life support is failing," Harris reported. "We need to act fast." Walker ordered an immediate rescue mission. As the refugees came aboard, the humans discovered they had hit the jackpot. These weren't just scientists. They were some of the brightest minds from dozens of enslaved worlds who had somehow broken free of the Dominion's control. Among them was Dr. Thax, a tall being with 4 arms and eyes that seemed to see right through you. He had spent years studying the Dominion's control methods in secret. "The Dominion aren't just rulers," Thax explained during an emergency meeting. "They're parasites. They feed on the mental energy of enslaved species. The more minds they control, the stronger they become." Reed shared the results of their own research, showing how human brains were naturally shielded. Thax and the other alien scientists were amazed. "This is unprecedented," Thax said, his eyes glowing with excitement. "Your natural immunity, combined with our knowledge of their technology, we might actually have a chance to fight back." Walker gathered his officers and the refugee scientists around a large table in a conference room. "Then let's make a plan. We need to understand everything about how their control works and how to stop it." For the next several days, human and alien scientists worked together. They studied the artifact, ran tests, and shared everything they knew about the Dominion. Slowly, a picture emerged of their enemy's true nature. The Dominion were ancient beings of pure energy who had discovered they could feed on the mental energy of other species. Over time, they had built their empire by enslaving race after race, using their combined mental energy to grow stronger. "But they've never encountered anything like humans before," Reed said during their final briefing. "We're not just immune. Our brains actually disrupt their control fields. That's why they couldn't stay and fight when we first met them. Being near humans weakens their power." Walker looked around the room at the unlikely team they had assembled. Human crew members working side by side with alien scientists who had risked everything for freedom. "Then we're going to use that advantage," he said firmly. "We'll find a way to share our immunity with others. The Dominion have ruled through fear and control for 500,000 years, but that ends now." The first speaker, who had been quietly listening, spoke up. "The ancient prophecies speak of a race that would rise from the darkness to break the chains of slavery. Perhaps they weren't just stories after all." Walker smiled. "They had the knowledge, they had the technology, and most importantly, they had hope. The real fight for freedom was about to begin." 3 months after their first encounter with the Dominion, Earth had become a beacon of hope in the galaxy. Hidden behind a protective dark nebula, the planet turned into a safe haven for escaped slaves. But Commander Ann Stone wanted to do more than just protect refugees. She wanted to free those still under Dominion control. Stone stood in the briefing room of her ship, the Defiance, looking at the holographic map of a Dominion mining colony. 24 freed aliens sat with her crew, all wearing the new insignia of the Resistance, a broken chain against a starry background. The mine holds 10,000 slaves, Stone explained, pointing to different sections of the map. The Dominion keeps them working by using 3 control towers. We take out those towers, we free everyone inside. Her ship carried the latest human invention, portable freedom fields, based on their research into the refugees' artifact. These devices could block the Dominion's mental control in a small area, giving slaves a chance to break free. Team 1 will hit the main tower, she continued. Teams 2 and 3 take the others. Our alien friends will help identify which slaves we can trust to join the fight once they're free. The plan was risky. If the Dominion discovered Earth's location, they would attack with everything they had. That's why every Resistance mission had to look like a random raid, nothing that would point back to humanity's home. The attack began at night. Stone's teams moved silently through the mine's ventilation systems, guided by maps provided by former slaves. They carried the Freedom Field devices in special backpacks, ready to activate them at the perfect moment. Main tower in sight, Stone whispered into her communicator. She watched as the Dominion guards patrolled below, their energy forms glowing in the darkness. All teams, report in. Team 2 in position. Team 3 ready. Stone took a deep breath. Activate freedom fields on my mark. 3, 2, 1. Mark. The devices hummed to life. Waves of invisible energy spread out from each team's position, disrupting the Dominion's control. Below them, the enslaved miners suddenly stopped working. Confusion spread across their faces as they realized they could think freely for the first time in years. The Dominion guards noticed immediately. They tried to reinforce their mental control, but the freedom fields prevented it. Stone's team dropped from the ventilation shafts, throwing stun weapons at the guards. The energy beams weren't used to Resistance. They fell quickly. Control towers are down. Someone shouted over the comm. The slaves are free. But they weren't finished yet. Stone had planned for this moment. Her team quickly distributed weapons to the trusted slaves they had identified earlier. These former miners had sworn to help free others once they got the chance. The Dominion will send reinforcements soon, Stone announced to the gathered crowd. Anyone who wants to fight for freedom can join us. Anyone who wants safety will be taken to Earth. The choice is yours, because now you can finally make your own choices. To her surprise, almost half the freed slaves wanted to join the Resistance right there. The others helped gather supplies and weapons before boarding the escape ships that would take them to Earth. As Stone watched the operation unfold, she received an urgent message from her ship. Commander, long-range sensors detect 3 Dominion warships approaching. We have 20 minutes at most. Perfect timing. Stone smiled. All teams, initiate Phase 2. This was the brilliant part of her plan. Instead of just freeing the slaves, they would turn the entire mining facility into a base for future Resistance operations. The freed miners knew every tunnel and shaft. They could hide an army in here. Load the supplies and set up the hidden defensives, she ordered. When the Dominion arrives, they'll find an empty mine. But we'll be watching, and we'll use this place to free even more slaves. By the time the Dominion warships arrived, Stone's teams had vanished into the mine's deepest tunnels with their new allies. The Dominion found only an empty facility, with no clue about who had attacked it or where the slaves had gone. That night, the Resistance gained not just people, but its first hidden base. Stone sent a message back to Earth. Phase 1 complete. The underground network has begun. The war for freedom was no longer just a dream. It was becoming reality. one freed mind at a time. The warning came at midnight Earth time. The dark nebula, humanity's ancient shield, began to glow with strange lights. Captain Walker stood on the Liberty's bridge, watching as hundreds of Dominion warships pushed through the purple clouds. "They found us," he said quietly. His crew tensed at their stations. "Sound the evacuation alarm. Get all civilians to the underground shelters." But Earth wasn't the helpless planet the Dominion expected to find. During the months of running the Resistance, humans had prepared for this day. Hidden defense platforms activated around the planet, their weapons ready. The Earth Defense Fleet moved into position, 50 ships strong, each equipped with the latest Freedom Field technology. "All ships, this is Captain Walker. Remember your training. Their mental attacks can't hurt us, and our freedom fields will help free their slaves. Hold the line. Earth depends on us." The Dominion fleet emerged from the nebula like an angry storm. Their ships glowed with the same energy as their bodies, powered by the mental energy of countless slaves. At their head was a massive vessel shaped like a dark star, radiating with purple lightning. "Enemy commander is broadcasting," Walker's communications officer reported. A voice filled with ancient malice echoed through the bridge. "Humans, you dare to disturb the natural order. For 500,000 years, we have ruled this galaxy. Lesser species exist to serve us, to feed us. You will learn your place, or you will be destroyed." Walker smiled grimly. "Send our reply." Earth's response was simple. "Freedom is the natural order. Come and get us." The battle began. Dominion ships launched waves of energy that would have enslaved any other species. But against humans, these attacks were useless. Earth's fleet struck back with weapons designed specifically to fight energy beings. On the Liberty's bridge, Walker watched as the first wave of Dominion ships hit their defense line. "Activate freedom fields," he ordered. Waves of blue energy pulsed from the human ships. On the enemy vessels, enslaved crew members began to wake up from their mental chains. Just as planned, chaos erupted on the Dominion ships as their own crews turned against them. But the Dominion had numbers on their side. For every ship that fell to internal rebellion, 2 more took its place. The battle raged for hours, space lighting up with weapons fire and exploding ships. "Sir," Harris shouted from his station, "Commander Stone's resistance fleet is incoming." They'd brought help. From behind the Dominion fleet, hundreds of small ships appeared. The resistance forces Stone had built, crewed by freed slaves and humans, attacked the Dominion from behind. Leading them was Stone's ship, the Defiance, firing precise shots at the enemy's weak points. "Now they're caught between us," Walker said. "All ships, push forward. Drive them back." The massive Dominion command ship tried to rally its forces, but it was too late. Caught between Earth's defenders and Stone's resistance fleet, their formation began to break apart. Ships either fell to rebellion or flew back into the nebula. The battle lasted 12 hours. When it was over, Earth still stood free. The defense platforms had held, and though some human ships were damaged, none had been destroyed. More importantly, they had freed thousands of slaves from the Dominion ships. Walker stood in the Liberty's docking bay, greeting the rescued slaves as they came aboard. Many were crying with joy, experiencing freedom for the first time in generations. Among them was a young pilot who had turned his ship against his former masters the moment he was freed. "I've never seen anything like this," the pilot said, looking around in wonder. "We always thought we were alone in our resistance, but you humans, you've given us more than freedom. You've given us hope." Walker looked out the bay window at Earth, still safe behind its recovering defense fleet. The Dominion had struck with everything they had, and humanity had not only survived, they had struck back. "The Dominion thought they could enslave us like all the others," he said. "Instead, they'd just shown the galaxy that they can be beaten. This isn't the end of the war, it's the beginning of their downfall." In the distance, the dark nebula slowly cleared, its purple clouds dispersing to reveal the stars beyond. Like the nebula, the Dominion's shroud of invincibility had finally been broken. 1 month after Earth's victory, the resistance spread like wildfire across the galaxy. Dr. Reed had made a breakthrough. The Freedom Field technology could now be mass-produced. Every human ship carried hundreds of portable devices, ready to break the Dominion's control wherever they went. The first speaker stood with Captain Walker on the Liberty's observation deck, watching as freed ships joined their growing fleet. 3 more sectors have broken free this week alone, he said, his silver skin glowing with excitement. The Dominion can't stop the wave of freedom. Walker nodded, but his eyes were focused on a star map showing strange energy readings. They're retreating to their core systems. Something's not right about this. They're giving up too easily. Dr. Fax, the 4-armed scientist they had rescued months ago, rushed onto the deck. Captain, we've discovered something incredible. All the Dominion's control signals, they come from a single source. The star map zoomed in on a distant region of space. At its center was a massive structure orbiting a black hole. Energy readings were off the charts. The hub, Fax explained, his eyes wide. It's their central consciousness. Every mental control signal in the galaxy flows from this point. The Dominion aren't just connected to their slaves. They're connected to each other. Walker immediately called an emergency meeting with Commander Stone and the other resistance leaders. Representatives from 30 freed species gathered in the Liberty's conference room. If we can destroy the hub, Stone said, studying the data, we could break their control over the entire galaxy at once. But the first speaker raised a warning. The hub is in the most heavily defended region of space. No fleet has ever penetrated their core systems and survived. Walker smiled. No fleet had humans on their side before. And now we have something else. A weapon they won't expect. He revealed their secret weapon, the original artifact they had found on the refugee ship. Dr. Reed and his team had finally unlocked its true purpose. It wasn't just a shield against mental control. It was a key to disrupting the Dominion's entire network. The artifact is ancient, Reed explained, created by a species that fought the Dominion long ago. They couldn't finish the job, but they left us the tools we need. The plan came together quickly. While the main fleet distracted the Dominion's defenses, a small team would approach the hub using ships equipped with special stealth technology developed on Earth. The first speaker volunteered to help guide them. He knew the old legends about the hub, stories passed down in secret for thousands of years. The prophecies say the hub can be destroyed, but the cost will be high. Freedom is worth any cost, Walker replied. The other resistance leaders nodded in agreement. As they prepared for the mission, reports kept coming in from across the galaxy. More systems were breaking free every day. The Dominion's empire was crumbling from the edges inward. In their desperation, the Dominion tried a new tactic. They sent a message to all their remaining slave worlds. Submit again willingly, or we will destroy your planets one by one. But their threat had the opposite effect. Entire populations rose up against them, inspired by the hope that humans had brought. The message was clear. They would rather die fighting than live as slaves. Walker watched from the Liberty's bridge as the massive liberation fleet assembled. Ships of every size and shape, crewed by beings from 1,000 worlds, all united under the banner of freedom. Send a message to Earth, he ordered. Tell them we found the heart of the enemy. The final battle begins tomorrow. As the fleet prepared for lightspeed, Walker thought about how far they'd come. 6 months ago, humanity didn't even know about the Dominion. Now they were about to end their rule forever. 500,000 years of tyranny, he said quietly. It ends now. The black hole hung in space like a dark eye, watching the approaching fleet. Around it orbited the hub, a massive ring-shaped structure crackling with purple energy. Thousands of Dominion ships guarded it, their energy forms glowing brighter than the surrounding stars. Commander Stone stood on the bridge of her stealth ship, the Shadow, watching the hub grow larger on their screens. Her small team carried the ancient artifact, now modified by Earth scientists, into a powerful weapon. Behind them, Walker led the main fleet, ready to attack as soon as Stone's team reached their target. "This is it," Stone said to her crew of humans and freed aliens. "Everything we've fought for comes down to this moment." The first speaker pointed to a small opening in the hub's defenses. That's our way in. The old stories speak of maintenance tunnels that even the Dominion have forgotten. Stone's ship slipped through the enemy formation, its stealth systems making it invisible to their sensors. As they got closer to the hub, they could feel the power radiating from it, the combined mental energy of billions of enslaved minds. "Energy readings are off the charts," Dr. Reed reported from his station. "The artifact is reacting to the hub's power. It's like they recognize each other." Suddenly, their ship shuddered. Warning lights flashed across every console. "They've detected us," Stone shouted. "All ships, emergency protocol now." This was the signal Walker had been waiting for. The main fleet jumped out of light speed, appearing all around the hub. The battle began instantly, with thousands of ships firing at once. Stone's team raced toward the hub while chaos erupted around them. Their stealth was blown, but now they had a different kind of cover, the massive space battle happening all around them. "There's the entrance." The first speaker pointed to a small docking port, almost hidden in the hub's complex structure. Stone landed their ship perfectly, despite heavy fire from nearby Dominion vessels. Her team rushed out, carrying the artifact. They had trained for this moment for weeks, memorizing the hub's layout from ancient maps the first speaker had provided. As they ran through the corridors, they discovered something incredible. The hub's walls were transparent, showing streams of purple energy flowing through them like blood through veins. "This is their true form," Dr. Reed said in awe. "The Dominion aren't just using this place. They're part of it. This is what they really are." They reached the central chamber, a massive room filled with swirling energy. In its center floated what looked like a giant brain made of pure light, pulsing with power. "The collective consciousness," the first speaker whispered. "Every Dominion mind, joined together. This is how they control their empire." But before they could plant the artifact, dark figures appeared around them. Dominion leaders, their energy forms more solid than any they'd seen before. "Foolish creatures," the Dominion voices echoed in their heads. "Did you think we wouldn't protect our heart? Your resistance ends here. Your minds will feed us for eternity." Stone smiled. "You still don't understand. Humans aren't just immune to your control. We're your opposite. Where you enslave, we free. Where you feed on others, we give strength. And most importantly, we never fight alone." At that moment, every free being on every ship in the fleet activated their freedom field devices at once. The combined power created a massive wave of energy that hit the hub like a tsunami. The artifact in Reed's hands began to glow brighter than ever. Stone grabbed it, and with all her strength, threw it into the heart of the collective consciousness. The chamber erupted with light. The Dominion leaders screamed as their energy forms began to break apart. "Back to the ship," Stone ordered. "Move." As they ran, the hub began to shake itself apart. The ancient artifact was doing its job, unraveling the very thing that gave the Dominion their power. Stone's team barely made it back to their ship in time. As they flew away from the hub, they watched the massive structure begin to collapse into the black hole. The war wasn't over yet, but its end was finally in sight. The heart of tyranny was failing, and freedom's light was about to shine across the galaxy. The galaxy changed forever in a single moment. As the hub collapsed into the black hole, a wave of freedom swept across space. On every enslaved world, in every corner of the Dominion's vast empire, the mental chains suddenly broke. Captain Walker stood on the Liberty's bridge, watching the sensor readings as billions of minds awakened at once. The Dominion ships around them stopped firing, their energy forms flickering and fading without the hub's power to sustain them. "All ships, hold your fire," he ordered. "Let them surrender." Commander Stone's voice came through the comm system. "Captain, the hub is gone. But there's something else happening. Something bigger than we expected." She was right. The freed minds weren't just waking up. They were remembering. 500,000 years of stored memories, kept locked away by the Dominion, suddenly flooded back to their rightful owners. The first speaker's eyes glowed with tears. Our histories, our cultures, our true selves, they couldn't really destroy them. They just locked them away in the hub. And now everyone remembers who they really are. Walker finished. Across the galaxy, ancient languages were spoken again. Lost songs were sung. People remembered their real names, their family stories, their world's true histories. It was like watching a million civilizations wake up from a long nightmare. Dr. Reed's voice crackled over the comm. The artifact didn't just destroy the hub. It released everything the Dominion had stolen. All the mental energy they fed on for centuries. It's going back to where it belongs. The remaining Dominion leaders, now powerless without their hub and their stolen energy, faced a choice. Some tried to fight, their ships making desperate last stands. Others fled into deep space, but most simply surrendered, their energy forms dimming until they were barely visible. 1 week later, representatives from over 10,000 freed worlds gathered at Earth. They met in a massive space station built specially for this moment, designed to accommodate beings of all shapes, sizes, and atmospheric needs. Walker and Stone stood with the first speaker as he addressed the gathered species. The silver-skinned being's voice carried across the chamber with new strength. "For 500,000 years, we lived as slaves. Today, we stand as equals. The humans didn't just break our chains. They showed us that resistance was always possible, that freedom isn't just a dream. It's our natural state." The new Galactic Coalition of Free Peoples was born that day. Every species would have an equal voice. No one would ever be allowed to control or enslave another again. And at the heart of this new alliance was Earth, recognized by all as the spark that had lit the fire of liberation. In the years that followed, the galaxy changed in amazing ways. The freed species shared their recovered knowledge, leading to incredible advances in science and culture. The dark nebula that had once hidden Earth became a symbol of hope, a place where the light of freedom had been kept safe until it could spread to all the stars. Walker stood in the same observation deck where this journey had begun, looking out at the transformed galaxy. Commander Stone joined him, along with the first speaker and Dr. Reed. "Did you ever imagine it would end like this?" Stone asked. Walker smiled. "End? This isn't an ending. It's a beginning." He was right. Already, ships were being prepared to explore beyond the galaxy's edge. There were new mysteries to solve, new civilizations to meet, and most importantly, more freedom to protect. The first speaker looked at the stars with new eyes. The old prophecies said the galaxy would be free again. But they never said what would come after freedom. "That's the best part," Walker replied. "For the first time in 500,000 years, everyone gets to choose their own future." As if to emphasize his words, a group of ships flew past the station, their hulls bearing the new symbol of the coalition, a rising sun breaking through chains, surrounded by stars. Each star represented a freed species, and the design had room for many more. The age of tyranny was over. The age of freedom had begun, and humanity had proven that no power in the universe was stronger than the desire to be free.